So with this being the final week of Solstice, this is going to be the last opportunity to farm for some awesome weapons. We covered Year-Tie Apex last week, a primary I think everybody should be chasing, but in this one I want to talk about Festival Flight. This is a strand aerial denial frame, the first of its kind when it comes to energy type, and honestly a really solid alternative to the Lost Signal Stasis Aerial Denial Frame GL. In this one we will go over all the perks that can roll on this GL, including the details on its 2 origin traits. After that, we'll go into the God Rolls you want to keep an eye out for, and finally we will talk about whether or not it stands to replace the incredible Lost Signal. But before we get into it, just want to say if you enjoy the content and want more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified on when I do drop more content. From Destiny 2 to Battlefield 6, there's going to be a lot you do not want to miss. So without the way, let's talk about all the perks that can roll on this weapon. As per usual, we are labeling it so you can follow and reading it from right to left. Now, all the way to the right, we have 2 origin traits, one being the Solstice origin trait, Dreamwork. Once per reload, assist or assisted final blows partially refill the weapon from reserves and increase reload speed for a short duration. Bows receive a faster draw time. Details on this are that ally kills on targets previously hit by the weapon or kills on targets damaged by allies grant the following benefits. Loads 66% of the overall magazine capacity, this is a rounded up number, into the weapon from reserves. This can overfill the magazine. This is going to be the top origin trait here among the 2. Onto Suros Synergy, just doesn't do it here for me. As you see in the perks, reload speed will be important and a priority here, and yeah, Suros Synergy just doesn't do it. So with the origin traits out the way, let's talk about what else this weapon can roll with. So in column 4, we have Binary Orbit. Underneath that, we have Frenzy, One for All, Vorpal Weapon, Attrition Orbs, Hatchling, and Elemental Honing. Next to that, in column 3, we have the new perk Blast Distributor, Demolitionist, Recycled Energy, Transcendent Moment, Envious Arsenal, Ambitious Assassin, and Slice. And since this is a GL, we only have 2 options in the magazine. Top one being high velocity rounds and the one underneath being implosion rounds. This is a fairly solid perk pool as a whole, and when it comes to the God Rolls, we got some solid options, but remember, the perks above the black bar are the ones I think make the best possible God Roll. Alternatives will be underneath that black bar. These can be equal in value, but just don't take the top, in my opinion. They're also just fine alternatives for different purposes. So with barrels, we are looking for quick launch. This gives a plus 10 in velocity and plus 15 in handling. The buff to velocity is always helpful, but since this is a GL, ideally handling is going to be the way to go. Another option to be mindful here is going to be smart drift control. This gives you more buffs, but not as high on velocity and handling. You do get a plus 5 velocity, plus 10 stability, better recoil direction, which in my opinion means nothing here, and a plus 10 handling. A fine alternative to quick launch, but yeah, quick launch is just better for that handling buff. Other barrel options here are just or not as positive, but I want to kill yourself over the barrel. Now, as you slide over to magazines, you only have 2 options, and well, only one of them is worth using, that being high velocity rounds. This gives you a plus 10 velocity and a plus 10 reload speed. An Implosion does have that plus 10 velocity and a stability buff, but you are going to be dealing with a negative 10 blast radius, which is just doesn't make sense here. I'm going to be taking a reload speed buff. It just makes sense, especially with the perk pool. Now, in column 3, we have some interesting options, all very solid. Blast Distributor is my top choice here. This new perk works like this. Dealing explosive damage grants a stack of Blast Distributor for 5 seconds, and you get a maximum of 5 stacks. Blast Distributor grants 10 grenade stat per stack, a very nice new addition that is great if you need some extra love for that grenade stat. But let's say that doesn't sell you. Something like Slice is really strong as well, so using your class ability even while this weapon is stowed grants you Slice for 8 seconds. While Slice is active, damaging non-severed targets severs them, grants a stack of Slice, and refreshes the buff duration. Hitting immune targets also triggers this. It's important to note that reaching 5 stacks immediately removes the buff. Also, if the severing hit kills the target, the perk will not trigger and you will not gain a stack. So, as you see there, Slice is going to be a great perk as a whole and an even better strand perk. Another fine option worth mentioning is going to be Envious Arsenal as well. Dealing any damage with both of your other weapons refills the magazine from reserves upon readying the weapon. This is great since you don't have a perk like auto-loading holster here, and if you have the enhanced version of this perk, it grants you a plus 20 to that ammo generation stat, which is always awesome in my opinion. Demo is not something I will bring up here on screen, but it's also a fine alternative, but relies on kills, which I think is the best option for a weapon like this, but that's just my personal opinion. Demo is something worth mentioning, you just won't see it here on screen. Now finally, in column 4, we have some bangers here too. At the top, attrition orbs. Well, attrition orbs is just going to be incredible. This is the top option. So dealing sustained damage creates an orb of power. Orbs have many benefits in the game, so whatever that may be, this perk is awesome and it can help you fine-tune and build with orbs at the plentiful. One for All and Frenzy are also going to be fine alternatives here. One for All gives you a 35% damage buff when hitting 3 or more targets within a quick frame, and Frenzy will give you a 15% damage buff and a 100 stat boost to handling and reload. So again, other fine alternatives, but orb generation, attrition orbs in this type of sandbox, you could do some very interesting stuff, some really fun stuff with that type of things, and just generating so many orbs is ridiculous. So that's why I lean on attrition orbs, but again, those are two other damage perk options with One for All and Frenzy that do give you some solid choices. But in all, any of these combos are going to be wonderful and powerful and very much solidifies this as a weapon worth chasing. Now, with Masterworks, handling is ideal, again, main theme, but anything else is really fine. No need to go crazy here about a Masterwork, but if you get handling and you get all that God Roll stuff, you got the perfect drop. Congratulations. Now, as we slide over into talking about where this stands with Lost Signal, there's a powerful selection of God Rolls you can choose up there, but again, does it stand against that Lost Signal GL? Honestly, it's hard to make the case that this is that much better than Lost Signal. One of the biggest reasons I say that is auto-loading holster is a massive and powerful perk, and Lost Signal has it and Festival Flight does not. Sure, it's not the end of the world, but it's such a mindless perk and it works so well in a GL, it's impossible not to love it. However, I do think as a whole, column 4 is a much better selection on Festival Flight than it is on Lost Signal. So as we compare the two, you see here, Lost Signal leaves a bit to be desired. Attrition Orbs truly stands out, and with both having One for All, I feel like there is an edge here to Festival Flight. I do like Wellspring a lot, and I like how Lost Signal does offer Wellspring, but that column 4 just feels not as good as Festival Flight. But like I said before, auto-loading makes things super easy to use that it might not even mean enough for some players to jump off something like Lost Signal. Envious Arsenal I don't think is a true replacement for auto-loading due to its requirements, but maybe that's something you're willing to sacrifice for a better column 4 with Festival Flight, but it's hard to tell and say which one is truly the king of the kings. I will lean Festival Flight, but I'm not going to say it's a massive difference. Both are truly equal in power, just one is a little bit easier to use with less options to choose from. But that's the video. Curious to hear what you have to say on this one. I generally love this GL, and I can't say that it's a completely better option again. So it's a good thing that they are both different energy types. Now, if you enjoyed the video and want more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified on when I do drop more content. Also, if you like this video and found it informative and want to support the channel in a small way, hitting that like button goes a long way and is greatly appreciated. Now, that's all I have to say on this one. Thank you for watching as always. Until next time, ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.